So, hello there! Are you interested in the solo self-found builds or maybe specific build for the Endless Delve? In this video I present you to specifically tuned Blade Vortex build for that exact purpose that excludes any unique items, annoyance, timeless jewels and cluster jewels. Also this build can function just fine on the 5 link and designed for the great time in Delve, of course, and can be actually converted into CI version if you want to make really deep Delve push. So first let's understand how this build actually functions, what are the main sources of damage scaling and what steps are fulfilling our requirements, and of course how we contract our inability to use specific items. So while we rely on poison and chaos damage from our Blade Vortex, the actual big part of the damage scaling comes from the two curses. First is temporal chains for increased duration of poison on enemies, and second is despair for extra chaos damage. For that exact reason we will run the Ascendancy and scale our poison damage with Assassin node, and as well as Occultist node for additional curse and additional curse effects. Also Occultists have the stun immunity when you have energy shield, which is really powerful for Delve. To synergize with our Blade Vortex playstyle, we will run our curses with the Blasphemy support as auras. And of course we will have one aura, and that one will be the Malevolence aura for extra damage scaling. And since we do not have all the mana in the world, we need to fix our mana reservation. And we will do that on our tree, since we do not have a lot of gear in solo self-found. To that we will need to reach 3 aura clusters on our passive tree, and they will be of course the Charisma, Leadership and the Influence notables on our passive tree. And now we can actually run all our curses and the Malevolence aura. But how we will actually cast our Blade Vortex and other skills? And the answer is we will use the Eldritch Battery Keystone on our passive tree, so we will turn our energy shield into mana and we will actually mana management that. So the energy shield do not regenerate itself quite fast enough. We need the way to fix our energy shield sustain, and for that we will be actually running on our Blade Vortex the energy leech support, which not only scales our damage but also leeches the energy shield, which is really great and powerful. Then we will run the actual Unleash support to have better ramp up on our Blade Vortex and of course to have better mana management. And then we will stick on our Blade Vortex the Poison support to have that poison chance all the way around, to not be actually dependent on our poison chance from the gear. And then we will stick the Unbound Element support on our Blade Vortex to have that damage scaling. And then if you have actual 6 link, you can go for Deadly Elements support for even more damage. So from this point we can actually boost our single target damage with Wither, and since we want to be cool and want our fingers to be healthy, we will run Spell Totem with multiple totems support. So you place the totems and they stack that fat stacks on the enemies. And of course, to boost our clear speed and single target even further, we can run Plague Bearer with increased area of effect. And it is really helpful because it is instant cast ability, so you don't need to stop if you want to finish off some strugglers. And of course you have extra damage on your single targets. And then we can use the movement utility, and that one will be your Virulent Blades not support the actual skill. And there will be several supports. First will be of course Fortify support, then the faster attacks support, and the Cooling Strike to finish off your enemies. And next
you're going to pull that out, then you are going to put the knife in position right over his heart and do what we like to refer to as the Dracula to finish him off.
And to finish our build setup with the gems, we will run custom damage taken on the level 10 with the Immortal Call on level 12. And of course we will stick the Chaos Golem on level 12 there as well, because you cannot just have enough physical damage mitigation in Delph. And of course then we will run the third curse, Enfeeble Curse. And to have that Enfeeble Curse with extra damage mitigation, we will actually need to have extra curse from our passive tree with Whispers of Doom notable. So we have one base curse, we have one from our Occultist node on the Ascendancy, and of course we have one from the Whispers of Doom. And of course, speaking of our passive tree, I provide several versions of the passive tree in the Path of Building software. They would be of course for your level 35, level 69 and your endgame, and of course extra one for the Chaos Inoculation. The early versions benefit greatly from your Ascendant starting point with extra elemental resistances, because well, we are in the Soul 7 found atmosphere, so that's always great. But later down the line, when you have all your resistances fixed, you can swap for the Assassin starting point and min-max your damage there. And of course, to reach maximum defenses, we will run the Phased Acrobatic Keystone on our build, and for extra elusive effect we also will run the No Witnesses notable. We grab quite a bit of extra damage from the Perfect Agony Keystone, and of course the Fatal Toxin and the Method of Madness notables. And then we will grab quite a bit of extra damage near our Assassin starting point. And of course further north we will benefit greatly from our Grow and Decay notable and also Atrophy notable. And then we will grab quite a bit of Cursed Effects Cannon with our Whispers of Doom and everything around that. And to complement our Blade Vortex, of course, we will run the Exceptional Performance for increased duration of our Blade Vortex. And obviously we will rely quite a bit on Life Sustain on our tree from notables like Herbalism, Profane Chemistry and Hired Killer. So the next one is your Chaos Inoculation version. This is more endgame stuff. If you just want to push to like level 95, you do not really need that. But if you want to really go into the racing aspect of the Delph or just test your metal, of course you can go for the Chaos Inoculation. In that case you will need to swap your tree quite a bit around. This is more of your endgame swap, something like level 90 plus. You have a bunch of Orb Regrets, you have a bunch of the Energy Shield gear you swap around. So for that you will swap your, of course, the Exceptional Performance notable, you will swap it around, scrapping all your life on one part of the tree. You go for the Energy notables for the Potency of Will. And of course the other swap will be your Mana Management swap from the Eldritch Keystone for your management of actual mana with Mind Drinker notable, and of course the extra mana gained on kill with passive near the Cursed Concoction notable. Of course we will generally sustain the Energy Shield leech from the all cluster near the Eternal Feast, and of course the Ghost River Keystone. And the other big change will be actually your Ascendancy. It's quite costly in the Orb of Regrets, but if you swap your Assassin to the Trickster, it makes a lot of sense, because in that way you will have a lot more of the actual management in the department of your Energy Shield and mana, and of course you will have your, I think, Frenzy charges, so you will have even more damage. So here's your quick guide on the Blade Vortex for Endless Delph in specific, but it will work in any other sphere of the Path of Exile. So thank you for taking your time and watching this build. I hope that was helpful. Of course, I invite you to leave some comments down below, because, well, to be fair, I'm a bit lonely, because I'm out of my natural habitat for like a lot of time now. And my natural habitat is like being in the center of room with several hundred people, so yeah. And my cat right now saying that as well. Like, seriously. While we rely on poison damage on our Blade Vortex, and of course we rely on the Chaos damage as well, the actual big part of the damage in this build will be 2 exact curses. 2? It's 4. And for that we will also get in the Immortal Call on level 12. And of course the Chaos Golem. And speaking of our passive tree, with our fatal toxins and method of madness? Madness! This is Sparta!